topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from experts on such topics as legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to our experts in community association law, estate planning law, tax relief, Medicare, public insurance adjusters, neuropathy treatment, business brokers, and personal injury law, along with many other topics. Now here's your host for the last 17 years, Steve O.
Hey, good afternoon, Texas. Welcome to another Ask the Experts radio show where, yes, he's right, 17 years we have been bringing you the top experts in their field in legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, I want to add and say hello to our new platform, TikTok, which I have just been blown away regarding the numbers of people who are already tuning in since we just started with them on May 1st. But listen, if you've got a home or a condo or a business and you've ever had damages done to it and you try to handle it yourself, I got to tell you, you're going to learn so much on today's show. We have one of the greatest public insurance adjusters in the state of Texas and Louisiana. And I'm telling you, folks, you do not want to handle this yourself. You're going to learn today why it's so important to get a public insurance adjuster. Let me welcome Sarah Mitchell Butler of Provident Public Adjusters. Good afternoon, Sarah.
Hi, good afternoon, Steve. How are you?
We're doing great. It's so good to hear your voice. Sarah, I got to tell you, I am so proud of you. We've been doing this show for just a little bit under a year. And I got to tell you, with the 30 shows we do, this is our second highest viewed show on YouTube. And looking at all the people coming on right now on TikTok, it's going to be the same. But this is in less than a year. We're so proud. People love how you explain everything, Sarah.
Oh, well, quite frankly, to hear that, I'm a little offended that I'm not number one. So,
she also
what
has
do I
a
need
good
to
sense
do?
of humor.
Do I need to do a dance? I don't know. That's what I know of TikTok is dance. If I dance, will that put us to number one?
She's got a sense of humor also. So since we have all these new people tuning in, Sarah, tell people about your company. And what's amazing is I have probably done about 10 or 12 public insurance adjuster shows over the last 17 years. Sarah is our first female. And I love it. I think it's wonderful because it's public insurance. It's kind of a man's world. And Sarah is like just jumped right into the fire.
Yep, I love it. You can't keep me away from the heat.
Especially in Texas.
That's right. That's right. What's the saying? If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, heat's everywhere here in Texas. So not just the kitchen.
So tell people about Provident Public Adjusters.
Yeah, so we are a public adjusting firm here in the DFW area. I mean, of course, we can help clients all over the state of Texas. We are a boutique firm. We're small, primarily a lot of women adjusters on our team. And so that gives the client a little bit of a different handling of their claim. I think we do an excellent job of taking care of the client and really paying attention to a lot of the details of their claim. And so I think we do a really great job here, and we're here to serve whenever it's needed.
So I'm going to ask you the biggest question, and people are saying themselves, they've never used one. What is a public insurance adjuster? It's not
That
a
is
dumb
my favorite
question.
question. No,
It's
no,
not
it's
a dumb
not.
question, is it, Sarah?
No, not at all. One of my favorite things to do whenever I introduce myself as a public adjuster is I just sit and I just wait, because 9.9 times out of 10 people don't know what that is. But what we do is we represent the policy holder during an insurance claim. Specifically, our firm handles anything to do with a structure. So any type of business loss or a home, a residence. There are public adjusters out there who handle auto claims, but our firm specifically handles anything to do with a permanent structure.
Well, I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people feel bad. Done to their home. The insurance company made them an offer. Basically, they thought they had to take it. But, folks, I got to tell you, about 15 years ago, I had damage to my home. I was saying, I'm going to handle this myself. I'm a great negotiator. And I tried to handle it myself, and something wasn't right. A friend of mine said, why don't you get a public adjuster? And of course, I'm like a lot of people, what is a public adjuster? What is it
Mhm.
going to cost me? I get a public adjuster, and listen, this is not the same for everybody. Everybody's situation is different, but they were offering me $35,000 for my damage. When
Mhm.
I got a public adjuster, the public adjuster got me $130,000. That
Mhm.
was the difference. So
Yep.
the insurance company was screwing me.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I hate that that happened to you, but that does happen every
Yeah.
day. Yep.
But getting a public adjuster, bringing one in, just did amazing difference. And like I said, it's everybody's situation is different, but there's a lot of people who are scratching their head. I don't think this is enough money. And that's why it's so important to have a public insurance adjuster.
Oh, yes. 100%. 100%.
Sarah, what is the biggest problem you see with people's insurance policy that maybe they don't have that they could have gotten covered?
You mean what did they miss getting coverage for in their insurance policy? Yeah,
Yes.
that's a great question. Okay, so I see two common things happen. One is they don't itemize their valuables such as jewelry. That's a big one. You do have to have a specialized, a schedule on your policy that will itemize and claim the jewelry that you have. I literally just got a phone call 2 days ago saying I had a $40,000 watch stolen, and the limit on their jewelry for vandal or for theft was $10,000 because they didn't claim
Oh,
it. Yeah, so there's literally we are confined to what the policy allows, and there was not coverage for that. So I see that happen. The other thing, especially here in North Texas, is there's a lot of exclusions and specialty caps and endorsements on roofs. So we're seeing a lot more policies that are going towards actual cash value versus replacement cost value. So what that means is if something happens to your roof, and you have an actual cash value policy, you're going to get the amount of money that it costs to replace it based on the age and condition that it is right there and then. Versus replacement cost value is what it would cost to replace it completely. Given that time and that time in month, date, year, whatever that might be. And so you definitely want to be reading your policies, especially in North Texas, where we have a ton of hail in this state. And so, I'm seeing a lot of those exclusions and endorsements come through. Good question.
well, yeah. In Texas, you get hail, you get tornadoes, you get a lot of even icy weather.
Yes, we get a lot of ice down here too, surprisingly. Obviously not as much, but in the Northwest, but we are not, our buildings are not built. We just don't have the same type of insulation as they do up north because they see it a lot more up north. So we have a lot more of those types of losses down here whenever we do get the ice and the cold weather.
This is from Mark in Garland, Texas. He said, I settled my claim 2 months ago. I saw your last show on YouTube. Can you go back in still and try to get more money?
Hi, Mark from Garland. So that's a good question. And the answer to that is it just depends. It depends on, did you already get the entirety of the work done and the claim fully paid and you recovered depreciation? Then generally no. But if there were additional damages, that's the reason, that's the reason why I see a lot of claims reopened is sometimes during the initial inspections, the adjuster did not notice some facets of damages, or it was not fully scoped correctly. Then yes, those things can be reopened. So for example, if the insurance adjuster only decided to paint one wall in a room, but they didn't pay to paint all of the continuous walls, then yes, you can reopen for something like that whenever it's partially scoped out. Yes, 100, or there's additional damages uncovered.
Another thing that people don't know is it's not just like roof leaks. Tell people all the different areas that you cover for a homeowner.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So fire is one, water losses, theft, vandalism is another one. If it's a business, you can do for if you had any type of loss to your business and you had business interruption, that is something available as well on your policy. And so, yeah, those are additional coverages that are always available, for covered peril.
And when is I'm getting a lot of people are asking when is the best time to bring in the public insurance adjuster?
At the beginning. And really, I always advise if you think that there's damage, then call a public adjuster first, before you even open the claim, to come look at the damage, because sometimes it doesn't make sense to open a claim. So for example, just 2 days ago, I got a call for a tree fall. A tree fell on their roof, and so once the crew removed the tree, we saw that there wasn't any damage to the decking, or the rafters or anything like that. So it didn't make sense for that client to open a claim because their deductible was $10,000 and the repairs were only about 5 to 7,000. So in those cases, you just want to pay out of pocket and not open a claim, because one, it now affects your claim history, and you don't want to be opening a ton of claims. There's a lot of potential repercussions for doing that. And then two, you're not going to get a payout because it's below your deductible. A good public adjuster will be able to come in, take a look at the damages, and one, say yes, this is worth opening a claim, or two, it's not. But if it is worth opening a claim, it's the best thing you can do is have a public adjuster open the claim from the very beginning, because whenever you open a claim, they are going to ask you a multitude of questions that determine a lot of different paths in their, within their company. And so you always want to ensure that the questions are answered in a way that doesn't close doors later on in the claim. For example, I've worked quite a number of claims where there was only a fire in the garage, but smoke filled the entire home. And so when the homeowner opened the claim on their own, one of the questions they ask is how many rooms were affected. Well, this homeowner said only one room was affected, the garage, but that's not what happened. The entire home was affected with smoke. But her mindset was, well, that's the worst room. That's the only room affected. And so what that does is, it sets, it could make the claim take longer. You might have to get adjusters reassigned who can handle larger losses. There's so many different facets to every single claim. And so a good PA will be able to take a look at an assessment of the damages and then open the claim from the onset to get it on the quickest path, the best path forward.
Why does some claims seem to stall after the repairs begin?
Well, that's for a couple of reasons. One, payments don't always keep pace with the work. So, for example, mortgage companies are involved and they might hold
Mm.
some of the funds until repairs are completed. Mortgage company does inspections. And then the other thing is, as you uncover damages and you're doing work, as you're doing work, your contractor's doing work, they're going to uncover additional damages, or they might cause additional damages. So then that requires supplements to be sent in. So for example, if you have a contractor that's removing countertops and they were tasked with detaching them and then resetting them later, but during the detachment they broke the countertops, now a supplement has to be issued to replace it. And that just, sometimes that stalls the process because the adjuster needs to see the right type of photo. They have to get approvals. And so sometimes repairs will stall for those reasons as well. But a good public adjuster will be able to know and anticipate these types of issues and know what kind of documentation is needed so that repairs can continue in a timely manner.
I have to ask a dumb question. What is the supplement?
Oh, that is not a dumb question. We get that all the time. No worries at all. So, supplements are additional requests for payment when more
Mm.
damage is discovered or the cost might change. So, for example, let's say it was projected at the beginning of a claim for the replacement of an HVAC unit to cost $15,000. And then in 5 or 6 months, whenever the replacement is ready to be done, costs have gone up, materials and supplies have gone up, you can send in a supplement for things like that. Or like I mentioned, additional damages were uncovered because while they were removing a wall, they noticed that there might have been mold behind it. So now you have to send in a supplement to address the mold that was additionally discovered.
So, talking about a business, and if a business, say, gets flooded, which means they have to close their business up, do you make sure that they're compensated for that?
Yeah, as long as the policy allows for it. Yes, it's called business interruption. And so there's a lot of different paths forward to that. I mean, sometimes we have to hire forensic accountants to help determine what those what those lost revenues were. But yes, as long as the policy allows for it, those are funds that a public adjuster will always pursue.
What about as a public adjuster, can you help, say, if the insurance company only covers part of the loss, like a roof, but not the inside damage?
Good question. That happens, unfortunately, a lot. Here's my number one. This is like, PSA, public service announcement.
Yeah.
The insurance company might try to get you to open two different claims. You do not want to do that. You want to
Mm.
first discover if the interior damage was consequential to the exterior roof loss. So, for example, did the hailstorm or the wind, the high winds, was that the reason why there's interior damage. Did they get that roof leak from the hail or windstorm? And so you want to tie the two damages together if that is in fact the case of the damages. You want to tie it to the same claim. Otherwise, again, you're now looking at opening two claims and you're increasing your claim history and you're paying two deductibles. And so the insurance companies do try to encourage that type of, path forward, but a good public adjuster will help try to connect the two if it is indeed the facts of the loss.
Sarah, we must have 20, 25 people from TikTok all write the same thing. How do you charge?
Good question. So we charge on a contingency basis. Here in the state of Texas, our fee is 10% we can never charge more than 10% of the entire loss. So we work on a contingency basis though. So if there is no recovery, there is no fee. So it's a free shake of the dice for the consumer there, the policy.
So you really have skin in the game, don't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, especially on some of these larger losses, I'll work a file depending on the loss. I'll work a file for a full 9 months to a year, and I might
Wow.
have to wait to get paid until the end. Or if it goes to litigation, you're talking about 2 years down the road. But yes, there's a lot of work that goes into it before we ever receive any type of, payment back.
I don't understand why someone would not hire you. They have nothing to lose.
I agree. It's a free shake of the dice for the policyholder for sure.
Because there's so much that whether it's a home or a business, inside, outside the structure, that the common person like me doesn't know about. So you're going to find things that I would never even begin to know. And that's what's so great about having a public insurance adjuster. And you don't have to do a check when you hire them.
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. It's just like you know more about radio than I could ever even fathom knowing. You do it every day. I do this every day as well. I mean, I can quickly look at an estimate and, okay, they didn't include this, this, and this. I can walk into a home and see, okay, they didn't include X, Y, Z. And so it's something I see every day. It's what I do every day. And so inviting an expert to really guide and manage your claim is, it's the wisest path forward because we're an expert. We do this every single day.
I got to tell you, your show goes by. I'm looking at the time. It's like, what happened to the time? Tell people how they can get a hold of you, Sarah.
Sure. They can go to www.txclaims.com. T for Tom, X for X-ray, and claims with an S on the end.com.
Sarah will be back again with us next month. We want to thank everybody from TikTok and YouTube who wrote us questions in. And again, Sarah will be back again with us next month. Sarah, I love doing the show with you. You are so good at what you do, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, see you next month, Steve. Thanks.
I get homesick when you come on because I'm from Dallas. Anyhow, that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to be talking about mesothelioma and asbestos. And if you know someone who's got a problem, a legal problem, we have the greatest lawyer who's going to talk about that because there's money's been put aside for people who get those diseases. That's it. Thank you, Rebel. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.